My daddy served in the army, we lost his right eye, but he flew a flag out in our yard. Till the day that he died, he wanted my mother, my brother, my sister and me to grow up and live happy in the land of the free. Now
the lyrics, the sounds, the images of America are like family relations. We recognize them instantly, even if we don't always like them. And when American culture changes tune, we care because someone is messing with our nearest, if not dearest. What better describes the state of America in the last 8 years than one almighty family row? Obvious even where you would least expect it, in the wholesome world of country music.
Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list.
Toby Keith took his cue from George Bush and sang about Lady Liberty shaking her fist at America's external enemies. But on the other side, the Dixie Chicks. The Dixie Chicks, talented daughters of the president's own home state, believed that the real enemy was within. Their own commander-in-chief, the world's most famous son of Texas.
We're ashamed of President of the United States.
As a punishment, the Dixie Chicks' music was banned from dozens of radio stations. They had committed the ultimate crime. They were unpatriotically critical of the president in a time of war. When the treacly world of country music is this divided, you know that something is rotten in the state of America. So how did we get here?
You were with us, or you're with the terrorists.
9/11 was the defining moment for President Bush and for America. For a country that had, on the whole, sought approval as much as respect, it was a brutal wake-up call. Such was the shock that the culture wars, which had been brewing for decades, were suspended. Hollywood was lost for words. Fact had proven itself to be stranger and bloodier than fiction. But the truce was brief, and once the shock had subsided, the culture wars resumed with a vengeance. Not because of anything that foreigners were doing to America, but because of the divisive figure in the White House. The men and women who shaped America's culture were taking George Bush by his word. They were either with him or against him. Hollywood didn't much care for George Bush, and vice versa, but it lapped up the themes spawned by his war on terror. The land of the free had also become the home of the fearful.
And you may find yourself in another part of the world.
The Bush White House gave up on films, but films didn't give up on George Bush. He turned out to be a rich seam of ridicule and disdain.
My fellow citizens, at this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger.
The war in Iraq was being compared to Vietnam. Uncle Sam was divided. 1 foot on the barricades, keeping the extremists at bay. 1 foot on the psychiatrist's couch, wondering where it had all gone wrong. Events led, literature followed. In his novel Plot Against America, Philip Roth imagined Charles Lindbergh, the ace pilot, winning the 1940 election as an anti-Semitic populist. One man hijacking American democracy. It could have happened then, Roth argued. It is happening now, many critics of George Bush claimed. To writers like Roth, George Bush also embodied another divide that was tearing this country apart, the growing gulf between the secular and the religious.
Virtually everybody I know lives without religion. And it seems to me that this is a deeply, deeply secular country I live in.
For every book that Roth sold, Tim LaHaye sold 5. Never heard of him? He is the best-selling author of the Left Behind books, a series imagining the end of days in our time. He has sold 25 million copies.
The Bible predicts that Babylon will be not only a world capital, but it will also be the center of commerce, the center of religion, and the center of government. And this could be the stage setting for such a movement gradually taking place over the next few years.
Healer, healer, heal our pain in love.
Free societies are peaceful societies.
While Bush clung to his dream and doctrine of exporting liberty around the world, Iraq became a prisoner of sectarian violence. American casualties jumped beyond 3,000, and the only heroes coming out of Hollywood were computer-generated fantasy.
How often do you guys color?
And then there were those, the vast majority, who migrated to mush, entertaining mush. America's global image may have been macho, but at home there was makeover mania. But better times were not what was on offer, quite the opposite. The worst recession since the Great Depression. America had become addicted to a culture of debt. Wall Street's swagger made America stagger.
It's awful, I know, but
It sucks.
The nation's script is being rewritten as we speak. The gap between the American dream and American reality is about to get a lot wider. And of course there'll be rich pickings for culture in that. But pity the film company that's in the middle of remaking the greed is good blockbuster Wall Street. They'll need a few rewrites. As for us, well, culture will eventually catch up with events, and we will need more cheering up than sobering up.